Hello and welcome to eBankBooks online tutorials. My name is Olga and I will take you through registration process, through setup process and show you how to create your first invoice very quickly and simply in eBankBooks. To start the process, go to eBankBooks website at www.ebankbooks.com. The page you see before you is our sign-in and registration page. In order to register your account, click on Register Site. This will take you to the registration form. We strongly suggest that you read the user agreement by clicking on the link here. The user agreement outlines service terms and conditions that we provide to you. In order to start registration process, you need to tick the checkbox and enter a valid email address. It will be used by us to contact you with any information about software upgrades, server maintenance, and it's really important that we're able to get in touch with you if we need to. Here we will be asked to re-enter the email address just to make sure that we haven't made an error entering it. Here you'll need to come up with a site name, which can be abbreviated company name. This site name will be used for you to log into your eBankBooks account. And here you need to generate and confirm your password. Just to make sure you're a human, we have to put answer in this box. It may take a few minutes for your account to be set up, and you will have a notification email from eBankBooks to confirm that your account is in fact ready to use. If you try to log on a little bit too soon, you will be told to wait. There we are, our account is now ready to use, and it didn't take much time at all. So what you see here is your eBankBooks account landing page. We feel strongly that invoicing is a bloodline of your business, so we bring you straight to your invoicing page where you can see your unpaid invoices. This is also a search page which allows you to search for particular invoices by amount, invoice number, date, client, practitioner, and deleted invoices. And the same for quotes. Because we haven't entered any information so far, and all we want is to create an invoice, we can do so. Click on the New Invoice button, and it takes you to your invoice form. Here you can select the date of the invoice. There are pre-selected budget categories. You can change any of these things. You can add client on the fly by clicking a New Client button. And you can add all of these details for your own records later. Right now all we need is a name. And remember to save by clicking the tick button. Now that our client is appeared on a list, we click tick for selecting this client. This client details will be shown in your invoice. And all you need to do is click on the blue plus button to add a product or series of products for this client. Now you can type in your line items manually, like so. And then you can manually set the price, quantity, discount if any, tax percentage, and the total will be calculated automatically. Now here I'll show you another way of entering a product. If you know the quantity, and you may enter the total. It will calculate the price backwards, allowing for the tax amount. So that's another handy way. And the third way of entering products can be through the list of products and services that you use regularly. So all you need to do is just click on this button, which takes you to the sales, products and services list. Since we don't have any products in the list, we can add one on the fly, which is handy for when we're in a hurry to create something quickly. So we can enter a name. And I'll be quite boring in my descriptions. There will also be opportunity to select a category. For the purposes of business analysis later, it will be useful and handy to have all this information carefully selected. So we can select whether it's a product or a service. Service is usually based on the time you spend with the client, so you can specify how many minutes that takes, or if it's a product, then the time is not necessary. We can put price, the tax, and remember to save. And we select this product to be entered into the list. As you can see, it appears on the third line. Again, we can adjust the quantity here, discount, tax, and so on. And so our invoice is ready. And all we need to do is save the invoice. And bingo, it's in the system. As simple as that. Now, let's have a look what it would look like in our printed invoice, and then we can make adjustments. Now, for the purposes of this video, I have to make this page a little bit small, so I hope you can still see it. But basically in this part, you can see the account name, and this part will be normally filled with your company details. Then you have information that's an invoice number and transaction number. There's a client name here, a date. Now in this section would normally be a client address details, which you probably need to show in your invoices. And this is a list of the products we just entered. There's also terms. So all of this information and our banking details, should we choose for this client to transfer money directly into our bank account. Now this invoice can be saved as a PDF file in order to be emailed. But let's fix it up a bit, because right now it's not quite ready to go. So our invoice has been saved, and we can just close it, and we will see it appearing in this list, because it's unpaid invoices pre-selected. Yeah, it shows you the amount invoiced, amount of outstanding. Let's leave this invoice for now and enter the minimum necessary information we need to send this invoice out. We need to go to Settings menu and select Company Details. Now this form is important because everything in this form will appear in your invoice. So this is what you want your customers to see and your suppliers to see. So let's here, instead of our account name, put our full company name. In most countries, you will have some form of identifying business. And for example, in Australia, it's called Australian Business Number, or ABN. And this number should be entered here in this field. And because every country will have different abbreviation for this number, we left a field where you can enter your own. So for Australia, it's ABN. And as soon as I finish typing it and click on another field, you can see that this abbreviation now sits against my Australian Business Number field. You may also enter the company tax number if you wish. That's optional. Then you may wish to add contact details here. And contact email address. You may also wish to add your company address in these fields. Country, Australia in our case, and your contact telephone number. I'm just entering some numbers here. And the company email here we show the email address that will appear in report headings. It may be the same or different from the one that you log into your account with. And always remember to save information you enter. Now that the company details have been saved, you also might like to add a logo. So we click Select Picture. That should be 130 pixels high and wide, or thereabouts. Save pic. Now if the picture doesn't show straight away, don't despair, it's still saved, okay? So all you need to do is refresh your browser page and you will see your logo appearing on the landing page. So this logo will now appear on all of my invoices. The next important setting is to set up your currency and tax. Here you check a checkbox Sales Tax VAT GST. If it applies, you select your currency, and there is a list of currencies that we support at the moment. So you find the currency that applies to you. We'll stay with dollar. Now in some situations you will have business has tax on sale items and purchase items. So you check VAT or GST button, or it may be just sales tax, which means you only apply sales to the sales items. In our case, let's go with the goods and services tax, and we just have to make sure that the tax percentages are correct. So 10% for sales and 10% for purchase tax, and remember to save. And that's done. Another setting we might want to look at here is external report settings. In eBankBooks, what we call reports is all of your sales and purchase invoices and any other types of reports that you generate. So here you have options to name your reports in a way that suits your situation. For example, for sales quotes, you could say just a quote or sales quote. For invoice, likewise. In Australia, by law, we need to call our sales invoices tax invoice. Purchase quote and purchase order, likewise, adjust the titles to suit you and your business. Here you also have option to show on the invoice discount. If you run the sort of business that doesn't normally give discounts, it just gives a little bit more room in your invoice to put other information. You may also choose to hide tax, so you can tick boxes if that applies. Here you have little fields where you can put either a disclaimer or some sort of message to your customers and to your suppliers. So whatever you write in these fields will appear on all of your invoices and quotes. I'll give you an example for sales. It's a kind of a standard disclaimer on a lot of invoices where goods remain property of the business until they're fully paid for. Yeah. So, and we just save here. Now that we have completed this part, we should also add at least one bank account, because then we can reconcile all of the transactions that we've made. So eBankBooks already has default internal cash account, which you can use, and you can also add any other number of bank accounts. And just add information. And overdraft if we have one. Remember to save. Now if this account is going to be my main business account, we'll click on the down arrow to open up a field, and we click this default button so my customers can pay directly into my account. When I click on the line for this bank account, I will also see the account balances for any given date. So I can go back in time to whenever I want my system to be operational and enter the balance that I have in my bank statement for that bank account. So then I can be sure that I haven't missed any of my transactions when I do reconciliation, and that's a very good accounting practice. So here I have entered the amount and I need to click save, and so as you can see because my bank account hasn't got any other money in it showing at the moment other than my opening balance at May the 1st. That's all I can see right now. And it's a handy little feature to check balances. Now here you may add any number of accounts, and some of these accounts may have nothing to do with your business. They might be your personal accounts. So you have an option of checking the private account checkbox and save. And if you do that, then this account will not be showing in your business report. The next thing we might want to do for our invoice is to go to Sales and look at our clients. We have entered a client on the fly, and we didn't really enter all of the details, so we might like to do this now. This is a client we entered earlier. We just have to click on the line to expand it. And here we might need to add email address or web or physical address for this client and their business number. And again, this ABN is showing because I have entered Australian business number as an abbreviation. Country, postcode, and billing and shipping address, if I wish to, yeah? And if I go back to the Contact tab, which may be important, is the terms. So basically, when do I want my bills to be paid by? So if I give my client 14 days to pay my bill, and that will show on the invoice. Sometimes my client may also be my supplier. And if that's the case, you can tick Supplier button. Okay? Click Save to save. For this client, you also have option of adding contacts, notes, and to see the list of unpaid invoices. And there's only one so far, the one that we just created. So you have a way of keeping all the contact details for all of your clients and suppliers. You just need to click on the blue plus button to add a new contact, and any details you may need. And remember to save. Now let's return to our invoice. Now I can also see my invoices here on the search window by checking this little checkbox and clicking Send. Now here we see all our business details are showing now. My company logo, company address, and business number. We have tax invoice showing as a title for our invoice. We have client name and client address. We have all of our items, and the only thing is wrong here is we have internal cash account showing here, which may be fine for some of you, but if you actually want your bank account showing, we need to return, close this, then return to our invoice to edit that part. So here to edit invoice, you click on the Edit button, which takes you back to the form we have filled earlier. And in the part Pay To, now we have internal cash and my biz account. So just select that and save. If you generate very similar invoices frequently to this client, it may be a good idea to click on the Copy button, and it will just duplicate the invoice. And then you just save yourself time filling something very similar over and over again. And you can change things if you wish. You may want to remove a line by clicking the red minus button, and just remember to save. And close invoice form. Now we see we have two invoices, the first and the second. Now if you want to register payment for one of these invoices, you just have to click on the Pay button, which will take you to the sales payment form. Invoice may be paid in one payment or several. So all you need to do is click on this blue plus button and enter date of payment and the amount. Say if invoice was only partially paid on that day, and maybe it was paid through bank transfer, we click that. Now we check Reconcile button only if this amount is already in our hand in cash, or if we already put it into our bank account. That's what reconciled means. If you receive a check from a client, don't click reconcile button for the date you received the check. Put the reconcile button for the day that the check hit your physical bank account. And click the green tick to save. Now I might as well show you what you need to do if you made a mistake. You go back to the payment, you uncheck reconcile button and save. Once it's unreconciled, that payment can be reversed, and it's as easy as clicking reverse button. You'll be prompted to see if you want to reverse. OK, and bingo, it has been reversed. Let's just enter a payment for exercise sake and say reconciled for the full amount on the July the 18th. We're happy with everything. We click green tick to save. Now there's nothing outstanding. Beautiful. And we'll click cancel. Now as you can see, this invoice has disappeared from the list because it's no longer unpaid. If we want to see it again, we just check paid button and click search. Now you see this invoice is here. If you click edit, if you look at the invoice that has been fully or partially paid, which will say here full or part paid, you're still able to edit certain categories like budget, practitioner, reference number. There's a few things you will be able to change. You will not be able to change the client. You will not be able to change any of the line items in your invoice. You can't change the product name if you realize you made a mistake. So as you can see, the name of the product has changed, or you can retype it or edit the product, but none of the financial details can be changed at this point. If you still need to do that, you have to reverse the payment for the invoice and come back to this form to make any sort of changes. And this is made a little bit difficult in order to have that full accountability, and it's especially important once you have several people working for you, because you can have several salespeople entering information and creating invoices, and it's really important to see who reversed what payment and when and why, and you will have that information. So now that we've finished playing with this invoice, we can save it and close. As you can see, the amount hasn't changed. Now at this point in the video, we have covered all of the necessary steps to create your invoice. I hope this video has been useful to you, and I hope you can see that the process of setting up an eBankBooks account is fairly straightforward and simple.